Okay, we've put our first quantity of water in. We've allowed it to relax just a little while. It's still quite dry. It's showing signs of wanting to bind, but it's still quite dry. We add a little bit more, as I said earlier, little and often, and make sure you get in with your hands and really whisk up the whisk up the bait so there's no dry spots. It's always better to do this kind of thing in a large bucket so you can get all around the ground bait. At this point the bait is taking on a lot of air and it feels quite light and vibrant. And you can see we've got a real good quality, very sticky ground bait. Although it holds together quite firmly in a ball, if I rub it, you can see it mixes out. So that assures me that when it hits the surface of the lake and starts sinking down to the bottom, when it hits the bottom, it's just going to absolutely explode, and all these good quality bits of food are going to be on the bottom waiting for the carp. This needs to be fired out with either a throwing stick, with a catapult, or with a method blaster, and we'll be showing you all those in a minute. So that's one mix. This can also be formed around the frame of a method feeder, so you could not only fire this out and fish singles over the top of it, boilies, corn, small baits, and you could use it as a method feeder mix as well. Mix number 2 is going to be pellet based, and what you need is some good quality pellets. These are from Bagham. They're high oil pellets and they work perfectly for forming balls of ground bait or method feeder in the same way. So we crack open a packet, and depending on how much we want, we introduce it into our bucket. So we've just got pure, simple pellets, nothing else in there. Okay, so we've got our pure pellets in the bottom of our large bucket, nothing added to them, just pellets all on their own. We can now add some high coloured attractant, bits of corn, not too much, just a sprinkling, some of the corn juice, and because it's starting to cool down now, what I'm going to use is a bit of tuna in brine rather than tuna in oil. Pop half a tin in and the juice, and as we've done before, just get in and start mixing that all about. Make sure that all of the tuna is passed through all the hemp, all the pellets, sorry. Now at the moment this looks nothing. It won't bind, it won't bond. What we need to do is to leave this for 10 or 15 minutes. The water will start getting into the surface of the pellets and making them soft and sticky, and when we come back, this will make fantastic balls for not only forming round your method feeder, but also for firing out into the lake. So let's leave this a little while to settle and come back to this in a moment. Okay, so we've had 20 minutes now to let these pellets rest. The important thing now is to ball them up in uniform sized balls. So I just scoop about a handful up, squeeze the pellets together and keep rotating them around in my hand to try and get a nice even uniform ball shape. And there you can see the pellets, the sweet corn, and a nice uniform ball that will fly very well out into the lake. In the pellet bucket, we've already got about half a dozen balls already knocked up, and the same with the Vitalin. So we've got the balls of ground bait. Now we need to introduce them into the lake. Okay, so now let's try the throwing stick. You see the ground bait with the catapult go out about 35 yards. Let's try the throwing stick and see what we can do. Simply introduce the ball of ground bait into the throwing stick. Line yourself up. Takes a bit of technique, just like using a throwing stick. But with a bit of practice, you should get a fair range. One of the things I think you'll notice is that if the ground bait isn't quite stiff enough, both the catapult and the throwing stick, because of the rapid acceleration we put in, can cause the ground bait ball to burst. Let's have a look at the catapult sling used on a carp rod and see if that's a bit more sympathetic to the ground bait and we can launch it a bit further. So now we've got the ground bait sling, the atomic ground bait sling on the end of our spod rod. It will very easily mount onto a carp rod because we don't put too much load through the rod. The weight of the ground bait ball is approximately 3 ounces, so the same as it would be for a normal lead on your carp rod. We simply introduce the ball of ground bait into the sling, trying to get the ground bait to sit centrally in the sling. And out she goes. Well, that draws us to an end of a really eventful day. We've seen a whole load of new techniques of introducing bait to your swim. The spotting technique we've done to the spotting, the PVA bags, the balls, a whole load of new bits and pieces. If you use these techniques in your own venues, you should be very, very successful. Go out, enjoy your fishing, have good fun. From me, thank you very much for watching us, and hopefully I'll catch you on the bank sometime soon.
Thank you, Ian. See you on the bank sometime.
Bye everyone. Good luck with your fishing.